If you're looking for the most well-rounded center build in NBA 2K22, then look no further. Now this build right here is a 5x5 machine and can do everything well with virtually no flaws. Now at 7'2", this build can shoot at a high clip without sacrificing wingspan or defense, and with the right takeovers, feel free to shoot from wherever. The defense is nearly maxed with all the Hall of Fame badges you could want as a center, and blocks honestly come with ease, as they should, and chase downs are no problem with an 8-foot wingspan. And not only that, but the rebounding is as good as it gets. Now like I said, there's really no weaknesses outside of being a tall center, which isn't really a weakness when this build is made more for 5v5 modes anyway. It's really easy to rack up stats, and it's almost an automatic A+ teammate grade for easy rep. Now if you're new to the channel, now would be a great time to subscribe, and without further ado, let's get into this build. For the build makeup, we're going to start with 7'2" for the height, 236 pounds with a max wingspan of 8 feet for the best possible defense. Keep in mind, this isn't a glitched build, but if you did want to take that route, feel free to do so with this template, but we're not going to be glitching this build for this video. Now let's start with finishing, and this is obviously important as a big man, as it's typically your primary method of scoring. Starting with close shot, it's important to get this attribute pretty high, as it makes life way easier around the basket, and standing layups are of course OP. Now we recommend getting at least 93 to unlock Hall of Fame grace under pressure, which will make you very efficient under the basket. Next we have drive and layup, and we like to get this to at least 71 to unlock bronze fearless finisher, and of course the long athlete package, which we've recommended in previous videos as well. For driving dunk, you want at least a 70 to unlock the quick drops off one package and pro alley-oops, and we're not going to go that high in these attributes like driving layup and dunk, because as a big, we're focusing on scoring using close shots and standing dunks, which of course brings me to standing dunks. Now for this attribute, we're going to go with a 90 rating, which gives us gold posterizer and is enough to throw down on anyone. You'll have access to gold rise up as well, and even at just an 80 standing dunk with 65 vertical, you can unlock pro big man contact dunks. So if you're going to lower this attribute to spend your points elsewhere, you can consider doing that. Now if you like to work out of the post, you can increase your post control to at least 85, which will unlock all the Hall of Fame badges you need. Increasing your post control will also help with drop steps, so if you do score using drop steps, it would be wise to increase this attribute, although it's not entirely necessary for this build's success. Now as we move on to the shooting, starting with mid-range, we're going to go to 73 to unlock the Hall of Fame fade ace badge, which can still be decent even at this rating. Now if you didn't want to invest this much in mid-range, you can go at least 60 to be able to hit your wide opens. And as we move to the 3-ball, obviously we're maxing this out here, and at 74 rating, you'll have access to some decent shooting badges, and with good shot selection and decent timing, it's not hard to green these shots. This build can hit the occasional white as well, but with just a 74 rating, you should be able to provide spacing for your team, which makes this build very versatile. Now if you've seen our previous video on takeover perks, we've been having fun with limitless takeovers and juice perk, which makes that 74 3-ball turn into a 95 when takeover is activated. So if you're worried about shooting on this build, it's definitely not an issue. Now next for free throw, we're raising this to a 76, which is currently hitting for us at a 95% clip when using real player percentage for free throws. This is typically more than enough to reliably knock these down. There's not much here in playmaking, as we're not going to be increasing speed of the ball or ball handle, but of course we're going to go with at least 85 pass accuracy to unlock gold bullet passer, which will make life easier for you and your teammates. Now I made a variation of this build to give me glue hands and unpluckable on bronze, but I honestly can't tell much of a difference with those badges on just bronze anyway. And then now we have the good part. With all those attributes we already have, we still have plenty for defense, and starting with interior, we're going for a minimum of 89, which unlocks Hall of Fame post lockdown if you need it, and of course we get that gold brick wall. You can increase your interior to 95 to unlock Hall of Fame brick wall, which actually works really well for screens and back downs, but inside scoring this year is just so broken. The difference between a 90 interior defense and a 95 definitely won't be felt in that type of situation, so it's really up to you if you want to set those big bodies. Next we have perimeter defense, and I know as a center you probably think perimeter D isn't that important, but we're going to raise this to 50 to be able to give contests in situations where the center needs to step up to help out the guard. Not having any perimeter D on your center will allow shots that look contested to actually be wide open on the perimeter, so it's definitely a good idea to have some. For steal, we're kind of capped here, but at just 60 you can unlock silver interceptor, which actually works really well when paired with that 8-foot wingspan. It's definitely good to have some steal to be able to help guard those slips and just be a menace in the lane in general, making it tough for PGs to make that right pass. If you don't have any steal though, it's going to be easy for those passes to whiz right past you for the easy buckets. Now not only does this build get easy steals, but it gets easy blocks as well. Of course, being 7'2", we want elite blocking, so we're going to go with a 97 rating to unlock all the Hall of Fame badges we need, like Hall of Fame Intimidator, Hall of Fame Rim Protector, Hall of Fame Pogo Stick, and if you can swing it, adding one more attribute to make it a 98 block rating will make the Rim Protector badge cost 1 point cheaper, which may be wise to do when considering your badge loadouts. Now next we have rebounding. We're going to go with the 85 offensive board, which is plenty and works well if you have the positioning since you're so tall already. And not only that, but for defensive rebounding, we're going to max this out to get our Hall of Fame rebound chaser badge, which of course makes that 85 offensive rebound that much better. Now we move on to physicals, and starting with speed, we went with a lower weight to get a slight speed advantage, and you don't need too much acceleration, but it's good to at least invest some attributes into it. And then we're going with a 65 strength, which will be helpful in the post both on offense and defense. For vertical, you can go 65 to unlock the threshold for big man contact dunks, but it might not be a bad idea to max this out to 70 like we do to help with the rebounds and blocks. Now lastly, we have stamina, and personally I'm not going below 90, but I'm sure 85 will still work well if you're trying to shuffle some points around. And here is the final build. We had a little left over where we just invested a little more into driving layup at a 73 to make it a 99 overall, but you can do what you want. And when it comes to your extra badge points, it's obviously all preference, but if you're struggling with where to put them, our suggestion is to put them into defense or finishing, but I think defense is slightly more important overall. Now that we have the build, we're going to look at the badge loadout, and of course you should be using badges that fit your playstyle. So this setup isn't set in stone, but we're going to go through some of the badges that are must-have and some that we like. And starting with finishing, we have 29 badge points to play with, and we're going to start with back down Punisher on gold. Now this is going to help our drop steps and getting into the paint for those easy buckets. Hall of Fame fast twitch is of course a must-have, especially as a big, and the jump you get from gold fast switch to Hall of Fame is too good to pass up, as it's about 7% quicker when going for standing layups. And since you have a high close shot rating, you can also consider post hook specialist if that's your thing. We're not going to use any of these other badges like Mouse in the House or Dream Shake, as for me personally they just don't provide enough value when compared to the other badges. But what we will use is Bronze Fearless Finisher. Like I said, we hit that threshold earlier so we could get at least bronze, which is going to help our layups. Limitless Takeoff Bronze is more of a luxury, so if you can swing it, it can be beneficial, but it's definitely not a deal breaker. Postman Technician just doesn't work as good as it used to, so we're skipping this badge and we're putting Putback Boss on bronze just to unlock those animations. For this last row of badges, we'll be spending a lot of points here by getting Hall of Fame Drop Stepper and Grace Under Pressure for nearly unstoppable inside finishing, along with Gold Posterizer and Gold Rise Up to give you those contacts and easy dunks. Now for the shooting badges, and we actually have a good amount to work with since we invested a little bit into mid-range and 3-point. We're going to go ahead and max blinders since we can. You can max out corner specialist since the majority of our perimeter shots will be coming from there. Bronze will work as well, but you might as well go silver since you have a low 3-point. You can use fade ace if you like to shoot fades. It does work decent, but I don't typically invest my points in this badge. Next we have catch and shoot, which only goes to bronze, but according to our results, just having this badge on bronze can increase the make percentage of your slightly early releases by 5% and your slightly late releases by anywhere from 10 to 15%, making this a very valuable badge. Next we have Deadeye, and we might as well get that since it's a single badge point. Shooting out the corner, any closeouts, that will help a little bit. We're not going to be using Green Machine since perimeter shots may be limited in some games. Lucky number 7 on bronze is a must. If you don't know by now, you should. This badge is super OP in the first 7 seconds of a possession. Just equip this badge on bronze and forget about it. Sniper is of course max, and personally I like to use Clutch Shooter on just bronze for that slight boost in crucial moments. There's really nowhere else to put badges. We're going to toss a point in difficult shots since we can take the occasional midi if you want, and you can see by some of these clips even a 73 rating can hit at a decent clip. Lastly, we have Hot Zone Hunter, and typically you want to max this badge as high as it can go to give you that definitive shooting boost for the entire game. Now for playmaking, and while we didn't invest much into this category, we still have a decent amount of badge points to give us everything we need, including Gold Break Starter for those consistent outlet passes. Badges like Floor General and Special Delivery are a luxury, not really needed as a big. Bullet Passer on gold is a must-have. We say this in all our videos. And then we're putting Needle Threader max because there's really nowhere else to put these points on. Now Dimer isn't necessary, as Post Playmaker will likely be activated more often, so we're putting Post Playmaker on gold. Finally, we have defense, and starting with Chase Down Artist, we always keep this bronze, which unlocks the chase down animations and is usually more than enough to get the job done. Of course, with our wingspan, we're going to max our interceptor to silver, which is still plenty for easy steals. Next, we have Pogo Stick, and this goes to Hall of Fame for better recoveries, along with Rim Protector, of course, because we're playing big and this is our bread and butter, so of course Rim Protector is going to Hall of Fame as well. Silver Box at the very least should be decent in most cases, and then we're skipping Defensive Leader and we're going to go for Hall of Fame Intimidator. Now this badge is super important when protecting the rim and should be maxed out at all times. Next, we have Post Lockdown, and this is a badge that can be changed out depending on your situation, but having this on goal will provide enough defense to box up those post scorers trying to cheese those moves. Now since we didn't invest in more interior defense to get Hall of Fame Brick Wall, we'll be getting this to gold, which is still very effective. Now you would think with 37 defensive badges it would be enough, but honestly with all these badges we have equipped, we have the skip badges like Hustler and Pickpocket, which honestly isn't the end of the world, but we need to do that to afford the Hall of Fame Rebound Chaser. And even dropping Post Lockdown to silver can still be decent depending on your situation. We added a few extra badge points here because you honestly can't have enough. Now like I said before, you can always shuffle these around to your play style, but these are the ones we're using. Now that is all we have for our official 5x5 center build. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, don't forget to leave a like on the video. It's Spill, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Later.